Welcome to the Multifamily Zone, where business meets family. We explore what the entrepreneur life looks like from the family perspective. Now here are your hosts, Julia and Gino Barbaro.
Hello, everyone. This is Julia Barbaro, host of the Multifamily Zone podcast. I am here with the co-founder of Jake and Gino, my husband and co-host, Gino Barbaro.
Hey, Joel.
Hey.
That was some intro. A lot of energy there for this one, huh? I think Julia really likes this show. She's going to really like the show for more than one reason. One of our students, one of the Jake and Gino community members, Ryan A., he reached out and he, asked us a question about our business and how we use our faith and our values. I'll let my wife dive into it because it was such a heartfelt email, and I just want to thank him for sending it. And it made me think about it, and it made me really dive into, why am I doing this? Why are we here? How can I build my business and continue to build it in an ethical way, in a moral way, how it upholds my values. So I really want to thank Ryan for the recommendation.
Yeah, no, it was great. Thank you, Ryan. The question really is how our faith and our values impact our decisions and how it has an impact on our business, my husband's business. Even his decision making in the business, it is a reflection on me because we do talk about it and it makes a difference, But our core values are really something we hold. It's a belief we have, something that we want to live up to.
That's not what you told me. You told me core values were a deeply held belief.
Yeah, I asked him the question. I said, "What is a core value?" And he looked at me confused. I said, I just was curious what you were going to say.
Well, obviously, she already forgot what she told me. So it's a deeply held belief. And the ironic thing is that we've really created core values for the Jake and Gino and for the Rand family of companies. It's been about 18 months since we wrote them down on paper. We had them intuitively, but I think the first thing is you have to really write them down, I think, for your life and for your business. And, our core values, I can go over them real quick. For us, it's people first, unwavering ethics. That's really important to us. Don't move the goalposts. Say what you do and do what you say. That's the core belief that I've had my entire life. And it comes back to, Robert Cialdini in his book on influence with commitment and consistency. I'm really having a problem this day and age when somebody says something to me, they commit to it, and then all of a sudden it gets changed. We want to be commit to something and be consistent with it. And I think that's a really important core value for me. Growth mindset. That's a core value. And that's living not with a fixed mindset, with the growth mindset. And I think God wants us to have the growth mindset, to continue to learn, to continue to struggle, to continue why we have that struggle. And don't always look at that problem or that struggle as a problem. Look at it at what the opportunity can come out of that struggle. The other ones are make it happen. And like I said, the first one is a really important one to us. It's people first. If you can lead by that, by thinking about all the people in your community and all the people that you're going to affect, that will guide you in everything, because you're not going to sell them a product that's not fit for them. You're not going to do something unethical to that person, because if that's your core value, you're trying to take care of that person first and foremost.
Yeah, we can use our core values as a kind of like a guide to make decisions in life. And the thing is, before maybe a couple of years ago, I actually never really even thought about them, and I never really said I don't even know what that is. Like if you asked me what core values were, I would have to think about it. But look online. There, if you write online, if you Google core values, it will give you a whole list, and you can look through them. And it's probably better that you read them and kind of get an idea which one stands out to you, because sometimes we don't even know what they are, so we're not really sure. We should really look into it, pay attention to it. I'll give you just a little list of mine.
So for me,
well, no, I'm going to give mine.
You're going to give your list. Okay.
Mine interrupting. I hate interrupting. Just kidding. So faith is one: honesty, integrity, patience, responsibility, leadership, mindfulness, maturity, hardworking, trustworthy, thankfulness, family, being courageous, joyful, goodness, humility. Those are just some. Just sometimes it's just good to read them over again and say, am I living according to my values? If I said that to someone else, would they agree? Would they say, yeah, Julia, you do live according to those? The best people to ask, though, are the people in our house. And the people in our home, they know us so well, and they could be like, no, the honesty part, I don't know about that. So that's something good, is to, reach out and say, I want to talk about this. These are my core values. Do you think I'm living according to them?
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, everyone out there, go out and choose a few role models that you want to emulate. I'll give you an example. Years ago, Derek Jeter's playing for the New York Yankees. And one thing that stood out with me about Derek Jeter, he always seemed like he did the right thing. He always said the right thing. He always acted the right way. And during that whole scandal with the steroids and everyone's cheating, I don't know whether it is or isn't, but it didn't appear that he was taking steroids. It didn't appear he could have. He could have been even much better, but it didn't appear that he was one of those people that was cheating the game just to get better and try to be better. So look at what kind of role models out there. From that business perspective, I really like him as a player. I like him as a role model. Choose your role models. Try not to put them on a pedestal because they're just like regular people, but maybe emulate their actions, the way he presented himself, the way he was always there for the fans, the way he played the game right. He played hard. He was, always about fundamentals and didn't seem like he cheated. So to me, I was always looking at him from that perspective. And look in the business world, see what business leaders out there you like. For us, Chick-fil-A is a great example for us. The values that they have, they're off on Sundays. They always say God bless when you're on the line. They always take care of you. It seems like all their employees are happy. They strive for customer service. They're always taking care of people. Maybe that's a company that you look at and go, wow, I'd like to emulate their actions and see what they are. There's so many other companies out there that you can emulate as far as role models.
Yeah. And once we have that guide, I feel like we use it. We could use our core values as a guide for our behavior. If we want to be honest, we can choose to. Sometimes we forget. So are we being honest when we're talking to people? Are we being patient? That's something that you have to think about. It's like, you know what? I really respect patient people, and I want to strive toward that. Let me pay attention to it. Let me start doing it. We use it as a guide for our decision making. Am I even being optimistic? Am I being mindful of others? And then our actions. Am I hardworking? Am I showing humility? Am I being responsible? And that's really important. So it's so good to just look over those values every once in a while and ask yourself if you're really living up to them. And if you're not, a lot of times we kind of live that double life, right? We'll write one thing, but we don't live that at all. And that we all go through that at times. We kind of forget, we get lazy and all that. And it's a time, maybe this is the time to reevaluate your life and say, okay, what kind of person am I becoming? And am I okay with that? And what needs to change?
So you'll see in your life, if your values and your goals don't line up, you're going to feel that there's something off. And I always give the example of, when I was at the restaurant, it's not that I did not like the restaurant so much. It's just that I had to work all the time during the holidays, on the weekends, and I wasn't able to spend time with the kids. And that was part of the problem working there. It didn't align with my values of being home with the family when there's holidays. And, just for working and making money, that really was a hard one for me as far as values go. And I think, as far as choosing a partner for values, when you go out and choose a partner, it's really important that you deal with something that we call value-based decision making. That's really important. Are your values and are your goals in alignment with this future partner? It's really important that you look at those and you discuss those. For us, working hard is imperative, but also, do you have those unwavering ethics? Are you going to say what you're going to do? Are you going to work hard? Are you going to be working for that other partner's family as well, putting yourself out there and not making excuses? That's something that we look for when we partner with others.
Gino just said something that was really important. He said, who you choose to work with, who you choose to partner with. And that's really important because that's with everyone. Who you choose to be friends with, who you choose to be married to, who you choose to work with. That's so important because you are, and sometimes we forget this, but we do get to choose that. And we can choose the wrong person. We could choose the wrong friends. We could choose the wrong business partner because they don't, and I'm not saying force values on others because, if we live by example, we can hope those around notice and maybe adopt some more good values, which is always really nice. But you can't force something on someone else, of course. But when you're looking for a partner, when you're looking for a business partner or even a spouse, it's really important to pay attention to what their values are. Ask them, talk about it, be open with them, because, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are really good people, but when it comes to work, maybe they don't treat their employees very good. And I have to tell you that Jake and Gino are two of the most genuine people, because they treat their team members, their employees, even their tenants, like they really respect them, and that's a big deal. And I noticed that, and I just wanted to share that with you all.
I think also that a lot of us adopt a scarcity mindset, and we're talking about values and faith, right? Aren't we supposed to believe that God is good and that God will provide for us? So we already come from the scarcity mindset of saying, wow, you know, am I going to make it? Am I not going to make it? I think adopt part of your values where you're going to have an abundance mindset where you will be able to provide. And that doesn't mean abundance just with making money, abundance with health, abundance with relationships. Now, obviously, you need to do your part. God's there to help you, but if you don't do the hard work, it's not going to get done. I think that's important, the abundance and scarcity mindset. And this is something that I'm going to talk and probably say, and most of you will not fully believe me on this, but I've lived it and I've experienced it. When I would focus solely on making money, I wasn't doing very well. When I started focusing on creating value and helping others, the sky's the limit. So, you know, when you're poor or when you're really struggling, all you're focusing on is what's in it for me? How can I make more money? And if those are your values and you're all about ego-based decision making, and those values are going to fall flat. Not until you train yourself to say, where's the problem in this situation? How can I help these people out? How can I solve the problem? Because, you know, you look out there, whether it's a company like Amazon or a company like Apple, or, you know, whatever those companies are out there, Chick-fil-A, they're all out there serving others and giving their superior product, and their values are really serving their customers. So I don't want anybody on this podcast to think it's just solely focusing on money, because if all we do is focus on money, we lose the bigger picture of, I think, serving others. I think of my value of it's not just about money, it's really empowering others and helping others. So don't make it always a sole focus just on money. Really make the focus on serving others and creating a ton of value.
Yeah, I want to talk about fear for a second, because fear is, you know, there's times where we actually allow fear to guide our decision making. Would you agree with that?
Do I have to agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
um
At times, some people more than others. The thing is, we allow it, and we don't have to, because a lot of times, we look at the situation we're in right now. We're in the middle of the COVID-19, and people are afraid, and they make their decisions based on fear, not on facts. And I think that's important. So it's important to step back for a minute and take the whole situation and pay attention to it. And this is about anything in life, any decision that you're making, and look at the whole picture before you make a decision, because sometimes we do allow that fear of the what if it goes wrong, what if I'm dating this person and it turns out it's a disaster. I don't want, you know what I mean? We're always worried that we're going to make the wrong decision. And in times like that, it's so important too, that we find someone in our life that is patient, that's mindful, trustworthy, that maybe we could talk to someone around you. There's always someone, whether it's a very close person or someone we kind of know, we always know someone like that where they're very wise and we want to talk to, because it's important to get the full picture and not be so afraid sometimes.
So fear has a lot to do with it, but the reason why there's fear is because people are reacting from a low level of energy. I always say it on the podcast, it's important. Are you a victim? Are you blaming everybody else? I mean, I don't think that's what our faith teaches us, right? Are you coming from a point of anger? Those are low levels of energy. Those are fear based. And when you're in that point, you can't create values. You can't live up to your core values because you're worrying about yourself. It's all about the self. When you start stepping out of it and start talking to others, and that's where I think you need to find a community of people where you're surrounded and you're challenged and you're held accountable for your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions. And I think that's really important. I think other things that people can do is really spend some time in prayer, meditation, whatever you want to call it. For me, I like to spend time in the morning. I always think also gratitude is an important element that we need to help to really to focus on. I mean, it'll help us create those values and be grateful for what we have right now for all those times. So prayer. And I think one other thing that a lot of us haven't done in a while is reconnecting with nature. take the time to really stop and think of what you want to do in the future and how you can live a better life and how you can create those values that will impact your decisions and impact your business.
Yeah, no, this is such a big topic, and it's kind of like, the foundation of yourself in a sense, because, how you're living your life, in work and even at home, I've lived in the house with little kids most of my life, and what my values are and how I am showing that to the kids affects them, and they'll grow up knowing that I was a responsible mother, very loving, but hopefully hopefully they will adopt some of my values and my husband's values, and share them with their families one day, because that's really the key here.
Let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsors.
At Rand Capital, we're focused on providing the best financing option for each deal and every client. Our personalized service, along with our blue-collar work ethic, will give you the peace of mind to know that we will take the stress out of the financing process so that you can focus on other aspects of your business. For more information and to find out how Rand Capital can help you find the best loan for your deal, visit randcapllc.com to start the conversation.
So, Julia, for everyone out there, they really need to create values, because if you can't create values, I always say your goals equal your objectives plus your beliefs, and your beliefs are part of your values also, right? So if you can't create values, you don't have values, it's going to be really hard to set goals or to be in alignment with your goals. If your value is really, I can give you an example. I'm trying to think of an example of a value for me. For one of my values was being home on the weekends. And then if my value is I want to become this big speaker and be away every weekend, and that's my goal, that would really be not in alignment with my values. I may become an amazing speaker, but I'm not going to live a fulfilled life. I'm not going to be happy because I'm going against what one of my core values is, which is to stay home and people first and my family first.
Yeah, no. So, my challenge to everyone out there is, even go online, take a look at a list of core values. Write down as many as you could find, whatever really stands out to you, write them down. And then if you could, go through them again, go through your list that you just wrote down and find the ones that really stand out to you. Those are your core values. And ask yourself each one, am I living according to them? And if you're not, what is holding you back? And what are you going to do in your life to change it in order to live according to it? Because it's so important. And like I said, if responsibility is something that which for me it is, responsibility is a big deal to me. And if I'm not being responsible in my life, I have to think, why am I blaming everyone else? Why am I, making excuses for not getting things done? So that's important. I have to find out why I'm doing that and stop and start being responsible. So that's my big challenge for everybody.
Julie's going to leave a link down below for values. She's got a value sheet. So if you want to fill it out for yourself and see where you are, and it's hard because you're working on yourself. And that's one of the hardest things right now. You're really diving down deep in yourself. And sometimes you may not like what you see, but at least you're working on yourself, and it's always trying to get better.
It is. You're right. It's actually really easy to pin. Like I could tell you what's wrong with everyone else, right? But when it comes to yourself, it's really difficult. But it's a good challenge, and afterward, it's exciting. It really is. It's exciting to start changing for the better.
So for me, the action steps would be to create those core values. Maybe even create a mission statement for yourself or your company or whatever that is, what you want to achieve, really. So how our faith and values impact our decision making, really living according to God's teachings. If you believe in God, that's what we do. We try to live according to those teachings. And sometimes it's hard, and it's a struggle, and it's a challenge. And it's, in the long run, really, I think it's all about creating relationships with others, and the money will come when you have those relationships. We are just focused on the short term. For me, having values that will help me long term, help me to grow better as a person, help me to go smarter, and help me to help others. I think that's what my focus has been on.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about the business for one more second. Is, you could be in business and still live according to values, and I think that's just like Gino was talking about, coming from the other end, who I'm not working with them directly, but I watch them and I could see them. And I, like I said before, they are honest, and I know that, and they're trustworthy, and they're hard workers. And that alone, I mean, we can all be like that in a company, whether, we're a stay-at-home mom or a CEO of a company. We could live by our values for sure. And we could hope that the people around us does too, but maybe we're the example.
But Julie, the really funny thing about that is that we make mistakes like everybody else. So it's
Well,
okay
yeah,
that
of
we make
course.
mistakes, right? It's okay that we're fallible. But how
Absolutely.
do you respond to those mistakes is really the important thing. I
Mhm.
can give you an example. When we had the restaurant fire back in New York, back in 2011, everyone's like, get as much as you can, charge them. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want that. All I
You
want
mean
is
from the
from
insurance?
the insurance and, getting public adjusters and just charging extra. And I really said to myself, all I want is money to open this place back up in record time. And for us, I got everything that I had in the restaurant. I just had it replaced. Everyone's like, you need to put this system in, you'll upgrade everything. I really wanted to do that. I didn't get a public adjuster. I didn't. And actually, it was really the weirdest thing in the world for me when the kitchen was cleared out and the fire had done. I came in with the insurance agent, and the whole cooking line was not in good shape. And I looked at him. I said, I don't need to replace this. We can keep this as is. And he looked at me. I don't think he ever heard that before. I said, all I want to do is just clean up whatever's damaged. And he's like, okay. And then a week later, I'm there. We're trying to do it. We're pulling the ovens out to clean behind the ovens, and they start crumbling. They start falling apart from the water. So that's when I said to them, hey, by the way, we can't really use these. And they were like, no problem. So on the front end, they knew that I wanted to be as honest as possible. Whatever the bills were, I wasn't juicing up the bills. And that was a place of respect that I started. Now, if I had asked everything at once, maybe he would have said no to a couple of things, but I really needed new ovens. They just completely crumbled. They were already 15 years old. So, by the time that fire came, all the water and all the damage. So that's a great, I think, story for us to illustrate how we live by them. If you make mistakes, it's okay. Just be transparent and try to stay up ahead, and don't make excuses. Excuses are for the fixed mindset. Excuses are for blaming others. Take the sole responsibility. That's one of the values that I want people to have, is just take responsibility and be transparent.
That's great advice. Great story, by the way.
You remember that story?
I
Oh,
remember.
that was painful. Those are one of those times where I still had the abundance/scarcity mindset, where I want to grab as much as I can because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And I should have just said, you know what? God is going to provide. And maybe I didn't have as much faith as I should have, although he did a great job in providing. And for us, it was a scary time. I never went through the process before. I had employees who were not employable. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my mortgage, but still at the same time, I didn't want to rip anybody off, because I knew as a business person that I didn't want to be part of the problem for having high insurance rates. Because if I'm charging the insurance companies more and I'm making money off of that, that means insurance rates are going up. If we all do that, then what's going to happen with insurance? Insurance companies are going to business, and our rates are going to be higher. So for me, I was looking at the effect of, if I do this and I'm blaming and I'm complaining about having high insurance rates, I'm part of the problem. So I never want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution.
I would say that you are mostly part of the solution.
I can be part of the problem sometimes, but once again, I just want to thank Ryan for the email. And if there's anybody out there that has any questions or wants us to discuss a specific topic, we'd love to dive into it. We'd love to really talk about it and discuss it. And, what struggles and what problems do you have? Maybe we have, our thoughts and our ideas and how we've come across those challenges, because they are challenges, especially in the real estate world, to sometimes be as honest and as ethical as possible. But I think in the long run, we always get confused with, I want to be feared, and I think people can respect you. You want people to respect you. And I'll leave it off with this: just do what you say and say what you do. Stop moving those goalposts. If you've committed to something and you've made a mistake, that's incumbent upon you to say, you know what, I messed up. I'm going to cover it. And it's the same thing with dealing with investors. If you've lost somebody money, don't run away and hide. Confront it. Respect yourself and respect them. And I will guarantee you, down the road, that person will come back and invest with you again.
Sounds good, Gino. So I just want to encourage everyone, give me an email, juliabarbaro@gmail.com. I am looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Have a great week.